What's up, people? We're back for the last part of Niaveity. Let's get stuck into this. Right, so they're in Brazil. The guy is in Brazil. He's taken some prostitute or some beautiful looking girl that he hasn't spoken to for a long time, and all of a sudden now she's coming back to his room. So one and one together, most guys know out there it most likely will be a prostitute. Okay. He's then gone to freshen up in the bathroom of his hotel room. She slipped something into his drink. Okay. Although saying that particular one that I watched was a transsexual, actually. It was a transsexual, so maybe the guy was out there looking for a transsexual, but that's the only thing I can assume. She slipped the roofie into his drink. He's passed out. This transsexual literally raped, obliterated this guy. She's raped him, or he's raped him. She's then gone through his apartment, or he, whatever term you want to use to describe it, stolen the guy's valuables and everything else. Now, obviously, when he wakes up in the morning, he's not going to be too quick to go to the police. Well, he's like, he can't even walk, let alone contemplate stepping into the police station. Okay. Maybe, you know, before we start jumping to conclusions and say, okay, well, you know, that's that, well, boy, listen, you should never want a tranny in the first place. Fool, what kind of man? Before we start jumping into that, okay, some of those countries like Brazil, Thailand, and all of those kind of places, this is what I was trying to explain to people, and then they weren't quite getting it. Some of the times you just can't tell that it's done. So they've done surgeries and things like that. The money that they've got from prostitution, they may have, first of all, looks like a man. They've been out there prostituting themselves for so long. They've had the surgeries, they've had the hormones. It's not all of them that you can tell. And let's face it, they never got to a stage where they both saw each other fully nude. The guy's gone into his hotel room to freshen up before having sex with her. He's come back out, he's taken a sip of his drink, so he hasn't seen her nude. As far as he's concerned, it's a beautiful female. This is what I was trying to explain to you in the straight versus bisexual. As far as he knows, it's a beautiful female. Then all of a sudden he wakes up the next day, he can't walk, his ass is bleeding, everything else. He's been pulverized by some tranny. She's stolen everything. Okay. Now what I was saying to you, what my story that I heard, which made me laugh back in the day, was some guy went to Thailand, and this particular, I think it was a woman at the time, I'm sure it was a woman. This particular woman led him back to a hotel room. He started licking on her nipples. She's put some sort of date rape drug on her nipples. So as he's licking on it and things like that, it's been taken into his system. Okay, he's now, because some of these drugs, you don't always pass out. What it does is it kind of what's the word? You guys will know immediately what I'm thinking about. You can't move. You're incapacitated. You can see, but you just can't move. And what's happened is, apparently he said some guy in a Batman costume jumped out of the wardrobe and raped him. Okay, she's a participant of it as well, obviously. Okay, so what I'm trying to say to people is, you know, that one, I mean, how would I describe that? I'd probably describe that as in desperate eyes. Sometimes we're walking around with desperate eyes, and we're not seeing things. We're not seeing the signals that are there. Then there's something like the distraction technique. Like, you know, the woman sitting down on the park bench. That's kind of the distraction technique. Another example of the distraction technique was, you know, like when you go to your cash machine, you go to the ATM, and you're about to take some money out, and then maybe someone says, "Oh, excuse me," you're taking some money out of the cash machine. Someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, I think you dropped something there," and you say, "Oh, okay, thanks." When you bend down to pick it up, it's not him that steals your money. It's not him that steals your money. It will be an accomplice. There'll be about 2 or 3 of these guys. They work in teams. One distracts, the other 2 or 3 or may even be 3 people that distract. It could be a fight. As you're taking out your money, a fight breaks out. You turn back. Okay, the distraction technique. That's another one that's used. So when you go into them foreign countries, that's why I have you saw me have my kind of money bag around me, and it didn't look right because you're thinking, it looked a bit off key, to be honest with you. Me having some big camera bag around my shoulder, but that way there is no distracting technique. There is no way they can distract me or blah blah blah. The distracting technique is a very common way of ripping people off as well. Internet love. I was saying in the first video that some people online and they have this basically I was watching this video where this person was with some girl for 4 years online. It's something called an online relationship. There's no such thing as an online relationship, for women maybe, and I guarantee you those women probably have hundreds of other guys that they're having online relationships with. For guys, you couldn't be walking around with a bigger L on your forehead if you tried. That's the epitome of a loser. Online relationship. So there's no online relationship. What kind of stupidness is that? If you're not physically able to sit down in a room with her, this is why I don't waste too much of my time on the internet anyway. And I am so raw now when it comes to women on the internet. I don't give a damn what they look like. I'm just raw. That's what I'm trying to say. Which, funny enough, brings me to some of my previous videos. One thing I said to you guys is I don't have the energy. My energy levels now are low. They're really low. And I just don't have time for BS. So if I'm talking to certain women online, I'll speak to them for maybe 2-3 days. From that point on there, we're exchanging numbers. If it goes beyond that, if I'm waiting more than 3 or 4 days to exchange a number, move on. Do one. Okay? After I've got the number, I'll talk to them for maybe 1 week at the most. Second week, we're on some sort of a date. If nothing comes from that date, that girl's being locked off. The speed at which that girl is locked off, the speed at which her number is deleted out of my phone is just, my days of simping are done. So 4 years, a guy had an online relationship with this girl for 4 years, and from the way that she looked, I don't think she was that kind of webcam kind of girl, so she didn't come across looking that way. So he did 4 years of simping online, basically. Because while you think that girl, like I said already, while you think that girl, you think you're the only guy that she's dealing with. Remember, girls get approached at the bus stop, they get approached at work, they go into a club, guys walking up to them, buying them drinks, simping, constantly. So to think that they're just going to have you as a man, you're the only person that's in their life, and you're 200 miles away, you're another country away, and she's literally taking you seriously. You're the only person that she's with. She's saving herself for you. It sounds too much like a fantasy, a fairy tale. That's not the real world, guys. Another thing I want to say is to you guys is and women, I want to say it to guys and women, is that some people, and this goes back to the nice guy versus being nice versus being a sellout. Some people are in relationships with women, and some women are in relationships with men, and these men or women don't even like their partners. They're opportunists. They're in it for some sort of reason, but it's not because they're sexually attracted to their partners. They may not even like them. They're getting something from it, but it isn't. They're not romantically interested. They're not sexually interested. And that's how you have certain people turning up dead. She killed him for his insurance money or his life money, whatever. He killed her for whatever reasons. He got bored of her and had someone knock her off. And that morning there, that very same morning that he got her killed, he was, honey, I'm going to work now. Okay, I will see you later on, honey, yeah? You're my princess, yeah? Remember that. You're my princess. I love you. Okay? Yeah, honey, we're going to do something later on, yeah? Okay. And she's just oblivious to it. She's just oblivious to it. Sometimes it is the fact that the person's really naive and not seeing the signals. And other times it's the fact that their partners are just real good. But me personally, and this is, and take it or leave it, I'm ultra sensitive. So if I'm in a relationship with a woman and she's upset or she's angry with me, I will pick up on it. There's no way I could marry a woman or be in a relationship with a woman and she's plotting to have me killed and I just didn't know. Or she's trying to set me up so I can get beaten up, or she's trying to, I mean, back in the day when I was younger, when I was desperate, a woman could set me up and say, oh yeah, look, you're really such a nice guy, man, why don't you come around my house and you know, I'd even cook for you, and yeah, we'll get a bit, you know, get some drinks, maybe get a bit of weed, and you know, and I would believe it. But at my age now, having been done over, knowing the nature of women as well, but there are guys like that as well, but knowing the nature of women, I'm not that naive anymore, guys. These sort of things can't happen. And we're pretty much summing this thing up. What else can I think of? Did I tell you about the distraction technique? When I was about 13 years old, I went into a chip shop with my friends and we used to play in this arcade machine. And this grown-ass man, and this is why I want to mention this, this guy was grown. He comes in as I'm playing the arcade machine and I'm looking outside watching my bike as I'm playing the arcade machine, watching my bike, and then he comes in again and he's like, oh man, you're really good at that game, show me the game, show me the move. And it was Street Fighter at the time, and I'm showing him things and he's saying, yeah, well, how do you beat this boss, how do you do that, wow man, wow, oh my gosh, how do you do that, man, you're brilliant, you're good, man. After I finished my game, I think he disappeared because I was still playing it. It was Street Fighter, so obviously there's like 8 rounds until you get to the boss. Anyway, he says, yeah man, you're really good, man, damn, you're really good. Then all of a sudden he cut it short. He was like, okay, I gotta go now. When I suddenly looked back outside now, my back was gone. So some complete sellout, some bum, has the audacity to basically con a kid. I was only 14, he was a grown-ass man at the time. To con, so it comes in many shapes and it comes in many forms. Just be, and the worst thing, I think the last thing I would say to you, like say it was like my nephew or something like that, I would say just be careful. The best way of someone ripping you off really is to take you out of your mind frame. That's the easiest way. And to take it, so for example, if you were really strong and it was just really hard to get one over you, the best way to do it is through drinking or drugs. If someone can kind of get you out of your normal state of mind, where you're focused, where you're active, where you got your senses about you, it's a lot more easy to manipulate you. And there was one more last thing that I was going to say, if I can think of it. Easy to manipulate you. I think that's pretty much it, guys. But overall, just be careful. There's many con artists out there. They come in many shapes, many forms. I remember being around, being in a pub, which really, to be honest with you, I don't want to say it, but I will say it. Really, a black man has no real place in the pub. You know, I mean, I have to say it. To be honest with you, a black man has no real place there. I've worked in pubs, so before people start jumping on the bandwagon, whatever, I've worked in pubs. Yeah, working there is fine. Working there is brilliant. But on the other side of the pub, a black man has no real place being in a pub. But I've gone into pubs, and it's no different really than when you're on the street and some small guy is acting up and he's reaching in his pocket and you can spark this guy out clean, but he's reaching in his pocket like he's got a knife, or like he's got a gun. So and what I don't know how I would use to describe it, but it's like an intimidation scam. That's the best way I use to describe it. It's like an intimidation scam. So that's another scam to look out for, is when people are kind of acting up. He's half your size, but the person's acting up and they're reaching for their pocket like they've got something. It's another way of scamming someone or intimidating someone, or causing you to back down because you don't know the outcome. I went into this pub, however, and this guy, I remember one time my friend was insulting him, and my friend is white. He was insulting this other guy that was white, and then the guy all of a sudden turns around and tries to like slap me on my face. And I remember, like, I'm in this pub now, there's loads of them around me, and I remember him saying to me, right, my two sons are on their way. Before he even done that, he said to me, my two sons are on their way here now. They're bouncers, you know, they're working blah 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 pub. And when he suddenly put his hand on my face, I felt like sparking him out. But where he said his bouncer kid's sons were coming, it kind of, so, you know, it's psychology. The point I'm trying to make to people is this: whatever scam that the person's pulling will always be some sort of psychology that's involved in it. So just learn to be a little bit more smart. But I hope you got something out of all of these videos anyway. I hope I wasn't blabbing on for too long, and I hope now you'll just be a little bit more kind of clued up, especially if you're traveling abroad. I could get into many stories about that as well. But anyways, peace.